Unfortunately, throughout the years of manga history, some have received cancellation news. Many stories are scrapped early, or in some cases, given a small amount of chapters to close everything up, which often leads to rushed endings where questions go unanswered. Cancellations ruin the opportunity for mangaka to tell a story that has legs, for room to grow and cultivate a story that has a slower beginning before developing into greatness. In shortening a story before it's had time to flourish, creators will never see their work come to fruition, never allow fans to see the potential it has. In the West, stories like Breaking Bad or The Wire arguably had slow first episodes, and then grew to become critically acclaimed series people recommend without fault. Cutting a series early could be like digging towards a gold mine and giving up a few minutes in. And axes are across the board in the manga industry. Weekly Shonen Jump are pretty renowned for axing series that don't do well for the magazine. I understand with a business hat on that continuing a series that stands to have no financial growth nor increasing readership is a risk. But there's something so heartbreaking in knowing a creative is not only losing their job, but a story they've poured their heart into. With this said, girls' love/yuri manga in particular are axed at a high frequency. There's definitely a double standard in companies cancelling series they barely advertise in the first place, especially for what is considered a niche market compared to heterosexual romance or boys love manga. So you'd think magazines would understand GL has to rely on marketing even more. But instead, GL manga often face the axe after no marketing in sight. 3 GL cancellations I was particularly upset about were Tsubame Tip-Off, Skibanta Tenkose, and Hana Monogatari. Tsubame Tip-Off had a great premise, a height gap romance in a sports manga that also has one of the prettiest main character designs I've seen in a while. It's easy to see how massive of a basketball fan the mangaka is, even more so from their Twitter, and how inspired they were in creating this story. But it got axed out of nowhere, with no plans of resuming, despite the mangaka clearly wanting to continue the story. Skibanta Tenkose, this one truly breaks my heart, was cancelled due to low sales. The mangaka came to Twitter to deliver the news, of which many GL readers were disheartened over the loss of a series they never knew about, because it was barely marketed. What makes this a kick to the chest is that the mangaka blamed the low sales on their own skills, claiming they have a lack of ability. And I can tell you right now, this is absolutely not the case. This delinquent 80s style GL was a breath of fresh air. The art style is to die for, and the character interactions were so sweet, they're cavity-inducing. Seeing the story not only get cancelled, but that Fujichika was heartbroken enough to delay announcing the cancellation news, genuinely made me cry. They deserved so much more than what they weren't given. So if you have time, I'd give them a follow over on Twitter, or buy their manga digitally in support. And finally, Hana Monogatari is the unfortunate perfect example of the issue I'm talking about. It's an old woman GL, drawing into the journey of rediscoverance, especially after the passing of a spouse. It's definitely a story unlike one I've read before, and it abruptly got cancelled too. The mangaka herself went to Twitter and expressed how her story wasn't promoted, even by her editorial team who don't follow her online. She had to come to Twitter herself to promote the story, even urging those overseas to read it through fan translations. It shows the upsetting reality of how under-marketed the GL genre is. Many of these cancellations aren't down to the mangaka's efforts nor the story being bad, but because they were never marketed enough for people to even be aware of them. These days it feels rare for a GL manga to be over 4 volumes. There's exceptions like Bloom Into You, How Do We Relationship, Whisper Me a Love Song, I Can't Say No to the Lonely Girl, and a pocketful more, but honestly, there are many GL manga that could easily have extended over the full volume count. Even in English publications, it can take some time for GL to get picked up, if at all. Some English manga publishers are dedicated to BL, such as Sublime, Kuma, or New Starter's Beloved Publishing, and as far as I'm aware, GL doesn't have that, meaning GL readers have to rely on any and all publishers to pick up their favourite works, which will have more competition. Look at 7 Seas, for example. As of the time editing this script, this is the ratio of hetero BL to GL stories they've picked up this year. And whilst I'm happy stories are having their time to shine, and getting picked up for a larger audience to consume them, I think sharing the disparity of attention GL receives in comparison shines a light on the situation with GL, which is that they clearly don't feel like GL sells well. But if they're never marketed well or never picked up in the first place, people aren't going to know about them, and as a result aren't going to buy said manga. The issue isn't lack of interest, it's lack of marketing. And I'll give props to Yempress, who picked up the guy she wasn't interested in wasn't a guy at all, aka the Green Yuri, because it's been the only GL manga I've seen in recent times be highly promoted and marketed, which isn't a shock given its announcement had some of the most engagement they've had this year. And it's all of these reasons I've mentioned, from the cancellations, to mangaka not valuing their artistic worth, to editing teams not supporting their GL manga, that I feel the need to promote the manga Love Bullet and its story. Love Bullet is a GL manga currently under threat of being axed due to low Volume 1 sales, and after seeing so many GL stories suffer the axe, Himajin, a term coined for GL readers and supporters, came in droves to help support Aini and her unique story, genuinely creating a once-in-a-lifetime event for a GL manga that receives so much global love and financial support that it blows the GL doesn't sell well excuses out of the water. Which is why I'm here right now animating manga panels in the hopes of promoting it more. And it's easy to learn how to animate manga using After Effects yourself through today's sponsor, SKILLSHARE. Through classes taught by industry experts ranging from beginner to advanced levels, SKILLSHARE offers plenty of time and support to develop new skills within a whole new range of different topics. There's over thousands of classes dedicated towards learning After Effects alone. Each class offers new opportunities of growth, whether you want to perfect logo animation, MoGraph smears, expressions, or if you just want an easy to understand beginner's guide. I'd personally recommend Tim Wilson's beginner's course, as he breaks down pretty much everything you need to know in getting started into smaller and easily digestible classes. After Effects has a high learning curve, which SKILLSHARE makes easier to tackle through learning paths, where multiple classes are curated into a single collection, super helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed with the program. Each class will be targeted towards an individual area that will all work together in helping your full understanding of motion design and the effective tips and tricks you can apply yourself. But motion design is just one aspect covered on SKILLSHARE. You could delve into character design, Premiere Pro, sound design, a multitude of topics to help you learn new skills. If this is something that interests you, the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of SKILLSHARE. A good chunk of time to delve into new editing skills you've been waiting to try out. Once again, a huge thank you to SKILLSHARE for sponsoring today's video. So, how did a whole community come together to promote Love Bullet on a global scale? A creation going semi-viral whilst rare isn't something new. For those who remember, the Bigless Diggless case is a prime example. A tweet randomly blew up whilst promoting the novel This Is How You Lose the Time War, funnily enough another sapphic story, and became a random phenomenon of fan marketing. With Love Bullet, it all originated through Aini's tweet, which announced that the manga was in danger of being axed. The chapter was dedicated to informing fans of the manga's situation and how through the help of readers, whether sharing the story online or buying the manga itself, could help save it from being cancelled like so many GL manga before it. Oftentimes, GL readers aren't in the know about a manga's sales situation until it's too late, even more so if it hasn't been localised. So I give massive props to Aini for putting herself in a situation where she had to admit that she needed help. She created a spare chapter that kept her characters, well, in character, making extra illustrations dedicated to saving the story that she would have had to do in her own spare time. I don't think it's selfish nor money grabbing for a creator to ask for support, especially for a story that means so much to them. And lo and behold, this tweet did numbers with over 1 million views. People started quote retweeting in support, leading to more eyes on the series and a successful fan-engaged campaign. Many artists started to draw fan art of the series, the hashtag becoming more popular, and so the sales of the manga suddenly shot through the roof. Most importantly, many fans wrote step-by-step instructions on how to financially help out Love Bullet, explaining how to buy the manga both physically and digitally, even for fans overseas. Because of this, numerous online stores across Japan started putting up sold out notifications, or telling fans to hold out for restocks, all the while it climbed up the Amazon charts at a steep pace. This is exactly why the story of Love Bullet's success is heartwarming, as many fans came together in helping a series whilst they had the chance. Some, like myself, being completely new fans, as before the outpour of support came through, I had no idea this series even existed. And it's a manga published under Monthly Comic Flapper, a magazine under infamous Kadokawa Publishing, so I really should have seen something about this earlier, but again, lack of marketing. All I want to see is mangaka and creators in general have the opportunity to tell their story to the fullest extent. No cancellations, no axing, just a story from start to finish. With everything said, I feel it's only natural to talk about Love Bullet and sell it to you guys. It is only one volume, naturally making it hard to avoid spoilers, meaning if you just want to read it for yourself, be my guest. To sell Love Bullet, it's a mixture of Luna's heart attack video, combined with the plot if she used a gun meme, but in reverse, and containing Yuri. The story follows Koharu, a girl who wakes up from death to find herself being appointed as a Cupid, a magical being unseen by humans. A person turns into a Cupid if they die without experiencing love during their past living life, except there's a catch. A Cupid does have the ability to reunite with the human realm and have a second chance at love and life. The premise does regard the idea of cheating death and returning as a human, but the price of such is as follows. Koharu will have to watch all her friends and family age while she stays in the same state as a Cupid. The time it takes for a human to transform into a Cupid after death varies, but it can take a while, like months to years long. So even when one returns back to humanhood, your loved ones will no longer be the ages they were when you died. Also, Cupids have to earn their way back to the living through karma points. To do this, Cupids are given one objective: find the best suitable partner for whoever the appointed target is, shoot them, igniting the flame of love, and receive karma as a reward. Of which, can we get these girls in on other series? Nana and Hachi? Bam. Yuzuki and Mako? Bam. Olivia Armstrong and me? Bam. No, but in all seriousness, it's one of the most interesting premises of a manga I've read in a while. And just from the first chapter, I was so captivated by the idea of it, and have so many questions even still. Who is giving the girls their targets? The goddess of love? Can Cupids fall in love with another? Does a fallen Cupid turn human remember their time as a Cupid? Is this shtick only regarding romantic love or platonic too? There's many catches to cheating death as a Cupid, and experiencing them through Koharu, a newbie who's one of the most interesting main characters I've read in a while, is intriguing by itself. There's something ironic about Koharu, who lived a life shrouded in the popularity of matchmaking couples together, becoming a Cupid whose sole job is the exact same, but unnoticed save for other Cupids. Koharu is entirely selfless, but to the point that it's somewhat a hindrance and flaw. For those who are too selfless, oftentimes forget about their own well-being or fail to notice they're not striving for their own happiness, but rather other people's. Koharu suffers with self-esteem issues, as the other Cupids mention, which is why I'm interested in seeing her development, whether she'll literally spread her wings and be more confident in herself. Love Bullet has the potential to grow into one of my favourite series, if how much I loved the first volume is anything to go by. I and many fans across the globe would be devastated if this series got cancelled. Similar to the notion reiterated in the story, it's always best to love something whilst you have it, rather than let it pass your grasp. I hope the story continues to be shared and loved, to the point cancellation isn't even a mere thought to the magazine. There's no word yet whether the increase in sales has been enough to save Love Bullet, but if you wish to help and buy the manga too, I'll put a Google Doc in the description on how to navigate Japanese sites to buy the series. Also, the Japanese yen is low right now, so it doesn't cost much either. Aini deserves the outpour of love received, and I hope that by making this video, I add even one extra fan to the series. Love Bullet goes to show that even if a GL series hasn't hit the English market, there are still thousands of fans willing to support a series that has so much heart to it, and has earned this once-in-a-lifetime outpour and fan campaign of love to help keep it alive. Hey guys, thanks for watching to the end of the video. As always, I want to give a shout out to SKILLSHARE for sponsoring today's video. I've used SKILLSHARE quite a lot, like genuinely, that's one of the reasons why I accepted the sponsorship, because I've used SKILLSHARE, I know they're a good company. So I also, of course, want to thank the patrons. If you want to support the channel and you want to get a few benefits here or there, want to get onto my Discord, or you just want to support the channel financially in any way, I will put the Patreon link in the description. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. I feel like I said it all in the video. So if you haven't checked out Love Bullet, please do. It's a fantastic first volume and it definitely deserves to tell its full length of the story of which Aini wants to tell it. So other than that, I should be coming to you guys with another video soon-ish. Hopefully. This one might have issues with copyright, I'm not quite sure. But until then, I will catch you guys in the next one.